And hello, everybody. Welcome again to the podcast. It's time to talk sports with Zimco Sports. Mike Zimmer here with you tonight. Friday night, big week before college football gets started, and I'm taking the evening to do some previews and talk some sports before the Husky fella joins me this weekend. We hope we have got our audio figured out, and we will be recording two podcasts tomorrow and then one on Monday for release on Thursday prior to the regular season. Normally, we do all our previews and predictions and everything else. We go conference to conference and we really dig through each team. We take college football serious, and one of the reasons is we like to gamble on it. We consume a mass amount of it. But I will be honest. Last year was a long season with the playoff and everything. Man, going well into January and the roller coaster of emotions with Ohio State winning the national championship despite all it was a struggle. But it also look, the game has changed. The transfer portal has made it difficult. Even doing previews and everything, it's hard. And I don't think we know what's in store for the future of college football, the way it's headed. Big news that came out this week: the SEC finally is going to go to a 9-game schedule. That's going to now set up talk about the college football playoff changing to a 16-team format. It's going to happen, and it's going to basically be five Big Ten teams, five SEC teams, and then whoever else. So you got Notre Dame and probably one from each of the other conferences that they want to play with, and then they're also going to probably talk about play-ins and all this other stuff. We went from the BCS and that garbage to finally getting okay, we have a playoff to we've expanded playoffs to where we need it to be to it's crazy. It's stupid. It really is. But I wanted to talk some football tonight on a Friday night, the last Friday, and the last without any kind of college football on. We've got a game tomorrow, noon. It's Kansas State and Iowa State from Ireland. So let's get into this. And so where Brian and I haven't been able to record this summer, we haven't been able to get into our picks for the conferences. So sit back, relax, listen, grab yourself a beer. This is my first beer of the week, and I've been looking forward to it. Good stuff. All right, let's talk about the conferences that Brian and I usually get to about late July, early August. And we'll start with um, some of the mid majors. And we might as well talk about Conference USA. I've already kind of did a quick American Conference preview. And if you saw that video or you listened to that podcast, you know that league is really in flux. You want to talk? Conference USA added a bunch of new members. They're going to lose a few too, including I, it just it's going to be herky jerky with these mid majors. And looking over what they have, Liberty is probably the best team by far. Jamie Chadwell used to be the coach at Coastal Carolina. He's there now. He lost his quarterback. Salter went in the transfer portal. They get a transfer quarterback in from Coastal Carolina in Ethan Vasco. He's had some injury issues and everything else. Liberty's the cream of the crop in this league by far, but it's really a crapshoot after that. Western Kentucky always puts together a good offense, and they have a transfer quarterback by the name of Maverick McKeever from Abilene Christian. Watch for him to put up some big numbers. We also have Lane Fife came from Fresno State. New Mexico State is now in Conference USA. They were 3-9 last year. I could see them in this conference stepping up into bowl eligibility area 6-6 5-7, but Fife is a good quarterback. You also have Jacksonville State. Boy, Rich Rod, Bitch Rod, whatever you want to call him, he goes back to West Virginia, and the cupboard is a little bare. But get this, you talk about all the transfers, and I try to explain this to people that some of these kids whoever's talking to them, man, not all of them are getting good advice. Well, you have Gavin Wimsatt has landed at Jacksonville State. Now, you may not know that name unless you're a college football geek like me. He started at Rutgers. He transferred to Kentucky, and now he's transferred kind of back down to Jacksonville State. He might be good at this level. You never know. So that's Conference USA. Liberty has an interesting schedule where I'm going to actually see them in September when they go to play Bowling Green. But they also have a couple interesting games that you need to watch for. They're going to be one of the teams that gets some top 25 love because, oh, well, look, Liberty's 11 and 1 or whatever else. It's not a very good competition in general. Let's move on to the Sun Belt Conference. James Madison is the cream of the crop here. The Sun Belt, they really took off in this conference, but Craig Signetti, now at Indiana, he's gone. But Bob Chesney is the head coach there. He came over from Holy Cross. Not a lot's changed from that program. They're a pretty good program. They had a lot of kids transfer out, but there's a lot of guys that wind up at James Madison that were overlooked in the ACC or overlooked, elsewhere, and they got a chip on their shoulder. And that's how they play. They have a pretty good quarterback in Alonzo Barrett. I think there's a chance James Madison could sneak up on people again. Now they had a struggle late in the season last year. Had a couple. I think they went 4-4 down the stretch, but still a 10-win team last year. They play at Louisville on September 5th, and they got a big matchup against Conference USA's Liberty on September 20th. Those are kind of their make or break on the national scale. But the Sun Belt in general, man, the East is the and the West I think is better. So let's talk about the East really quickly. You've got Georgia Southern. Clay Helton is down there. They are always a competitive bunch. Weren't last year, but they're going to be back this year. Ricky Rain has put together a decent program at Old Dominion. With their schedule, I think they're going to go bowling this year. And they've got an interesting quarterback in the name of Colton Joseph. He's a run pass guy. He's just a sophomore. I think Old Dominion, if Phil Steele points it out, is going to be one of those surprise teams. They were 5-7 last year, just missed out on a bowl game. Could make one this year. You've got Appalachian State, Coastal Carolina, and Marshall in that Eastern Division. Um, all name programs, right? Appalachian State finished 5-6 last year, and they have a new head coach. Um, no Joey Aguiar, the quarterback there, very very good quarterback. He's now at Tennessee. I don't think they're going to be very good at all this year, and they've got a schedule that's not real conducive to them winning more than 4 or 5 games. You've also got Coastal Carolina. They were 6-7 last year. Tim Beck, the head coach there, third season, he's got to be on the hot seat. That program all of a sudden isn't as attractive anymore. And I could see them firing him after this season. They've downgraded at quarterback. MJ Morris comes over from Maryland. You might remember him from NC State, and I think he actually came from someplace else before that. Marshall is the story here. 10-3 last year. They don't renew their head coach. They don't give him a new contract, and he bolts right before the bowl game, as well as most of the roster. They lost some ungodly amount of players. They could go from 10-3 to like 3-9, 2-10. They only have 4 starters back. The cupboard's bare. Marshall apparently doesn't want to pay their coaches, and it's a mess down there, from what I understand. The rest of that division, Georgia State, I don't think they're going to get up off the mat this year either. They're down there with the rest of those Eastern teams that are not very good. The West is a different story. Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, good program. Michael DeSormo is the head coach there. 7 starters back. They got a two-headed monster running back. And if they get any quarterback play above average, maybe good quarterback play, they've got a chance to run 9-10 wins out of this division or this league. They've got an interesting game. I'm calling my shot. They're going to upset Missouri on September 13th. I'll at least take the points. Also, In that division, you've got Texas State, and GJ Ken is the head coach down there. You're going to hear about him. He's going to wind up going up to a major program. He bypassed it. I think some people knocked on doors this past year, but he decided, nope, going to stay put. But I could see him moving on from San Marcos, Texas, because San Marcos, Texas, even though going into the Pac-12, yes, Texas State is going to the Pac-12. I don't see him sticking around there for very long. They do have an interesting quarterback battle there. Nate Yarnell comes over from Pitt, as does Kendrick Luster from SMU. Backup guys. They weren't going to be able to get, they're not going to play at those programs, so they're down at Texas State. Who wins the job could dictate how their offense goes and how their season goes. If they get above average, they're going to win those 8 or 9 games, as mentioned. South Alabama, Major Applewhite. Remember him? Texas Longhorns quarterback back in the day. He is the head coach there. This is his second season down there in Mobile. South Alabama, um, 7-6 last year, lost a lot of players, but they're one of those. There's enough talent in that area for them to kind of refill the bucket. Calling my shot on them as well. Also, September 13th, they're at Auburn. I think that's what finally gets Hugh Freeze fired. I think they lose to South Alabama, and yeah, so there you go. Also, a couple of programs from that. Arkansas State has really kind of fallen by the wayside the last handful of years. Southern Miss has been nowhere for about a decade and a half. They were 1-11 last year. They're supposed to be better. I don't see it. Troy. Troy was a really good program, and unfortunately, the second year coach there, which his name is Gerard Parker. Boy, they were 4-8 last year. They didn't play a lot of defense. That's what their calling card is. Troy, Alabama is another big fertile ground to go and get talent. I don't see it this year. So I would say that Louisiana Lafayette and James Madison, you're going to hear about those teams. You might hear in the mix Texas State because, again, they are moving on to the Pac-12. Let's talk about my beloved Mid-American Conference, the MAC. Boy, the MAC. Um, they probably suffered via the transfer portal more than any other team or conference in the country. A lot of teams come to cherry pick their absolute best talent, and it's really affected the rosters. But the MAC has always kind of survived. But I have this question all of a sudden: Northern Illinois leaving the conference. Ohio kicked tires on leaving the conference. Is this a swan song for the MAC? I mean, do they need to add more teams? Do they need to solidify and figure out a way? I mean, they've got some really dynamic coaches. They've got some, and they've always been a fertile ground for NFL talent. And I think they have some talent this year, but the portal robs them of any continuity. So you really don't know. Interesting stuff though this year. And also the portal taketh, the portal giveth. Let's talk about some of the guys that have transferred into this conference and some of the talent that is coming back. So Daquan Finn, Toledo quarterback 2 seasons ago, good running threat, a good thrower, goes to Baylor, doesn't get the playing time. When he did, he was kind of ineffectual. He's landed back at Miami of Ohio. He didn't go back to Toledo. The reason is because Toledo's got Brendan Gleeson. And Gleeson came from Georgia Tech a couple seasons ago. He's a pretty good quarterback too, when healthy. You also have Drew Pine, um, started at Notre Dame, and then he went to Arizona State, and then he went to Missouri, and now he's at Bowling Green. And the thought is he'll fit right in because that was the same model Bowling Green had out of their quarterback for the last 2 seasons, Connor Bazelak. He would carry to Missouri, to Indiana, to Bowling Green, and was pretty good. And by the way, Bazelak's going to make the Buccaneers. He's going to be their backup quarterback, I do believe, this season. Kyle Trask for Florida's terrible. Anyway, the give and take on that is what I find pretty interesting. Um, Toledo's still the cream of the crop. Jason Candle, 10th season there in Toledo. People have come and knocked on his door. Hey, want to come coach? he stayed put, and I love that. And Toledo is a bit of a commuter college anyway. Um, but they go to work, man. That football team is always pretty well coached. I can see Toledo being very good again this year. Miami of Ohio, what they have done is also they get good kids, smart kids with Daquan Finn. I think Toledo and Miami, big game at Miami this year. That could be the deciding factor for the conference overall. Let's see. Buffalo has a quarterback, Ty Roberson. He transferred from UConn. That is a really interesting offense that they have in Buffalo. They can run it and pass it. It is um, the spread offense dream there, and they've got a pretty good. That program really did put down roots in the MAC and is going to be going bowling again this year. The Ohio Bobcats with the kid Navarro at quarterback. First Ohio Bobcat quarterback to throw for 2,000 and rush for 1,000. The Bobcats will be pretty good. They host West Virginia. It could be an upset. You never know. Let's see. Bowling Green, my beloved Falcons. They get Eddie George as the head coach there. There's a lot of excitement there, and Bowling Green did keep some of their coaching staff together, including the defensive side. And they are putting together NFL talent especially at defensive end, linebacker. If Bowling Green can get some defense this year, which it's tough, especially for the MAC. And oh, by the way, Drew Pine is okay. They're going to be another team that I think goes bowling as well. I really like prospects and what Eddie George could put together there. This is a resume builder for Eddie George. I don't think it should be looked at any other way, but Bowling Green has welcomed this. And the excitement over the program has been really good from everything I read and everything I see. And I think they're going to be able to compete this year. I really do. Eastern Michigan's got an interesting transfer quarterback, Craig Creighton at Eastern Michigan. That's one of the toughest places to win in college football. And all he has done there is pull off 25 upsets in 9 seasons. I mean, it's amazing. Uh, Noah Kim comes over from Coastal Carolina. Pretty good quarterback. That Coastal lost. So I could see them being in the mix also. As far as the other teams, Western Michigan is in rebuild mode. Central Michigan has been stuck in neutral. Northern Illinois, they're going to be pretty good. The reason Northern Illinois going to be good is they're well coached. I really love their head coach out there, Hamden, the former running back, and they're another work ethic team, and he's like, look, we're like everybody else. We got to put some NIL together. He goes, but if that's the sole reason that you're chasing, chase it because you ain't going to get it here in that number. But if you want to come here and you want to play, you want to be developed, and you want to maybe get on the NFL, that's what they're selling. That's what the Mid American Conference is selling because you can get there. The scouts do like the talent that's there. Um, Akron, they're just never good. Ball State, they've been terrible the last couple of years. UMass has re-entered the league. That's one of the toughest places in the country to win now. I'm surprised they stayed at the 1A level. I really did believe maybe they'd go back down to 1AA. Kent State, worst program in the country. And I mean, the Bears out in not just record. 0-12 last year is brutal. I think they've gone 1-23 over their last 24 games. Bad. Northern Illinois plays some defense, 40th in the country. Ohio plays defense, 53rd in the country. Miami of Ohio, 54th. Kent State, 134 of 134. Ball State, 131, and Western Michigan was 124 last year. Boy, they were. I saw that team twice last year. They not good on defense. There you go. There you have it. That is the MAC, the Sun Belt, and Conference USA. As far as a preview, that's as good as it's going to get this year. I got some more thoughts on this. Brian and I, like I said, are going to get together and we're going to talk about some of these other the Power Four conferences. We're also going to talk about Week 1 when we get together on Monday. But I had some other stuff I wanted to talk about quickly as far as the sports side of things are concerned. Let's go with the NFL. The last weekend of the preseason is ongoing, and it's hard to believe that the season is here for both college football and pro football. But now we have, with the way they do the preseason, we have this wait until we get to past Labor Day and we get on to the NFL season, which gets started on the 7th of September this year. Um, Man, these preseason games got to go. I was at the Atlanta Falcons Detroit Lions preseason game. That was preseason game one. Got a cheap ticket. Uh, Kid gets hurt early in the fourth quarter. They just run out the clock, and they were like, "Yeah, we're not. We don't want to play anymore." I get it, but at the same time, what a joke. Um, most of these teams wisely not playing many of their players. And the preseason is as a season ticket holder for the Cincinnati Bengals, I still have to pay that price, right? I have to pay regular price for this crap. Got a game tomorrow. Bengals only preseason game. Thank God. It's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday when there's college football on, and they've already said no one's going to play. Who the hell wants to go to that game? I mean, friends of ours or mine took the tickets. That's great. I'm glad they're getting to go. Go watch the first half, watch some NFL football. It's great. But it is travesty that the NFL sticks this down our throat. They should basically just do scrimmages. And if you want to charge an admission to that or whatever else, go ahead and do it. Maybe we only have one preseason game. It's rough. But here are the Bengals, the only team that's going to risk our MVP caliber quarterback on a Monday night football game against Washington this past week. Now, Joe Burrow wanted to play, and the Bengals have been poor starters. They've started so slow the last couple of years. That idiot coach of theirs, Zach Taylor, is 1-11 in September over the last handful of years. How putrid and pathetic that is. He doesn't prepare his football team. He's a terrible coach. Terrible. We're going to play our players this year. We're going to get these guys. We're going to be prepared because I've been unprepared. Now we're going to be prepared. So he leaves Joe Burrow in for 3 series, and Joe Burrow got killed on one of these. And Joe Burrow's got to be smarter than to take that hit because he starts running around like a rooster with his head cut off, and took a hit. And it's like, what are you doing? But the problem is that they don't protect Joe Burrow, and now Colton Volston is out for the season. That offensive line is a patchwork of C plus free agents. Great. I'm so excited that I have to worry about Joe Burrow's health every snap. I worry that I'm going to see his leg and hip get rolled up under like I did his rookie season playing the Redskins. I thought we were going to see it again Monday night, but how stupid. So you get the first drive. He wasn't real happy about that. Okay, I can see that second drive. Get him the hell out of the game, especially once he started running around saying, nope, no way. No way. You're not doing I don't get it. The Bengals also are so cheap and frugal. This story leaked today. Boomer Esiason, former Bengal player, was inducted into the Bengals Ring of Honor back in 2023. Ring of Honor is coming up for the Jets game in October, and so the Bengals sent Boomer an invite, kind of. And he went on his show and he said, I don't want to seem like an ungrateful or bougie whatever. But he talked with his co-host and he's read the letter. And the Bengals basically invited him to the Ring of Honor game. 2 complimentary tickets. You can buy extras. And we have a block of rooms at the Renaissance Cincinnati that you can pay for on your own dime. We're not offering it. We're going to reserve the rooms. It's a discounted rate because we're the Bengals. We got a group rate. It's like he got invited to a wedding because they know he'll bring a nice gift. And the gift is, well, it's Boomer Esiason. But they're going to make these players that they invite, and of course this was a mass email, so whoever they have invited, they've put this out there. Yeah, you get two tickets, but you pay for your own damn hotel. Now look, the Bengals throw around money like, they throw gold bars at homeless people. It doesn't happen. But at the same time, you're an NFL franchise. You could probably afford to invite a handful of your former players, legendary players, back for a game and accommodate them for Saturday and Sunday and have them there. And it's not going to really hurt your bottom line. So Boomer's like, I may not go. I don't know. He goes, they're playing the Jets. Maybe I can get on the Jets plane and fly with them over there, save a little money. So he puts this out there, and then Corey Dillon, added to the Ring of Fame last year, says, "Well, damn, Boomer, I didn't even get an invite. How bad is that?" So the Bengals don't want Corey Dillon at their wedding because, well, Corey Dillon did why not bring a nice gift, I guess. I don't know. Anyhow, other NFL news. By the way, a final thing on this. I don't know that we'll get an NFL preview in. Calling my shot. Bengals go 6-11. Zach Taylor fired mercifully after the season. Maybe. I don't think Joe Burrow finishes the season. That's going to be a shame. It's going to be a shame. Other NFL names. I'll talk about shame. Indianapolis, the Colts. That's a brutal situation. Shane Steichen, the head coach there, decided to pick Daniel Jones as the starting quarterback. Yes, that Daniel Jones, who was so bad he was run out of New York. He's going to be the starting quarterback. They picked him over Anthony Richardson. And how bad a pick was Anthony Richardson? I mean, you don't draft inaccurate quarterbacks. He's an inaccurate quarterback. You don't draft a guy that's that young. He's that young. He's younger than even Shador Sanders and some of these other kids that just got drafted, and this is his third year in the league. He flashes brilliance because he's got great athleticism, but he's he's not very well coached. And what are you doing? You haven't exactly set him up for success. These Colts teams, the offensive line ain't great. Their receivers are man. That defense is pretty good, and that's the. But what's the over under on the Colts wins this year? 3, 4? And I mean, are you hoping that you're in the Arch Manning Derby to get his services next season? I mean, the Saints are going to beat you to that because the Saints are a mess. They haven't picked a quarterback yet. It's either going to be Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuff, the kid from Baylor. What's the over under on their wins? I'm saying 2. I think they might be 2-15 and make sure they get that draft pick. Meanwhile, the Giants and the Browns have too many quarterbacks. The Giants actually made a pretty good pick. Jackson Darts looked really good in the preseason. And if they can get him some reps late in the season when it doesn't matter, and not have to throw him into the fire, he might be really good in that system with Brian Dable. They have, however, Russell Wilson, who they signed some ungodly contract with, who's going to be the starter. You're not going to get a free agent that big and not start him. But then they got Jameis Winston. And Winston is a serviceable NFL quarterback. Why the Saints didn't get him and say, Jameis, come on down. You're going to get your head kicked in, but you're going to start. You're going to be exciting. You're going to be fun. So we'll pick Arch Manning next year. No, a couple other teams could have got him and a serviceable backup quarterback. Why the Browns decided to not bring him back? Well, I actually understand that because they didn't want him around Shador Sanders to get bad habits. But anyway, but James Winston's going to get traded, I think. You can't have those 3 quarterbacks on there, right? And then you have the clowns. Joe Flacco is going to be your starter. Hadn't taken a snap in training camp. It doesn't seem like. Kenny Pickett's still in the mix. Dylan Gabriel's played a lot. And Shador Sanders, he's played. They look good. He's buried on 4th on the depth chart, and he ain't going to play. And you watch, he won't play till they are done and cooked, lost their 12th or 13th game. And then it'll be too late, and he'll flash. And this goes to a bigger question. Is the NFL and the powers that be really that savvy to be able to basically blackball this kid from the draft and now as a pro? Because look, he can play. I don't think there's any doubt that there's talent. Are you trying to humble him? It's a Deion Sanders kid. What? He's either good enough to play or he ain't. And that's all it should be. Yes, he was. It was overblown, and whether or not he was the top quarterback in the draft, I don't know. I don't know that he was worthy of being a top 10 pick, but definitely better than fourth round. The Browns are Browns. Final notes. Major League Baseball. I love baseball, but baseball doesn't love me. And the commissioner of that league, Rob Manfred, is the Cracker Barrel CEO of commissioners. There is talk of expansion, and that's been something that's been thrown out there. They want to get a couple more um, locations. Nashville's a strong candidate from what we understand. Maybe Charlotte, Raleigh, Portland, Oregon. I don't see that working out. But they're going to add a couple teams. That's going to happen. I think that'll happen within the next 5 years. If not, they maybe running up the flagpole in a couple. But he went on one of the national baseball broadcasts and was talking about realignment. And he wants to go into four divisions, four teams across two leagues. It's just, oh God, just stop. Stop. Just stop. It's terrible. Uh, I, I I know you don't want uneven divisions, but you're going to then reshuffle and realign. Nobody's asking for this. But the baseball media and these other people, oh, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. How cool would this be? It's their wet dream, and everybody's got all these fakakta ideas about how you're going to redo the lineups. Are you really going to put the Mets and the Yankees and the Red Sox? I don't care who else is in Baltimore. Are you going to put them all in the same division? You can't do that. You can't. It doesn't make any damn sense. Are you really going to, you know, throw them? And it's the National League gets thrown into chaos. The American League, it doesn't really shift the paradigm very much because geographically they're still kind of there and they're already kind of where they should be. The National League gets destroyed. Tradition gets destroyed. It just stop monkeying with something. It's just, and everybody's making a big deal about this Cracker Barrel thing, right? You're alienating your true fans and your customers. Try to chase and please a non-existent customer. Millennials, vegans, um, people that go to Starbucks aren't going to go to Cracker Barrel. Baseball fans, soccer fans, let's say, and that are into soccer or basketball aren't going to suddenly start to like baseball. It's just not how it works. We need to stop trying this crap. So I have a cat that has invaded the airspace. Last note: the Apple TV apparently is going to, for the baseball package, is going to go bye bye. Apparently, they are at an impasse and they're not going to be part of the new package, whatever it is. Good riddance. The Braves are on there right now. I can't stomach it. It's such a bad. It's terrible, and Apple shouldn't be doing that. Apple should be doing MLS, which they do, and it's buried, and I never see it. It's great. ESPN, though, is going to get the majority of the baseball package. Major League Baseball is a battered wife and will go back to the well and be mistreated. They are now going to be ESPN NFL because the NFL now owns 10% of ESPN. And that's bad for all of the sports. You can't tell me otherwise because the NFL is king. But Major League Baseball is like, yeah, we'll come back. Just don't treat us bad, okay? You can put us on, Sunday nights and until football comes around. So, but just don't. You're not going to treat me bad, are you? No, Jesus. Sorry if I've offended anybody with that. I hope I didn't because it's just, yeah, it's bad. This is Tay Tay, by the way. Anyway, that's it. That's it. I've spent 35 minutes prattling on about all sorts of stuff. Hopefully, you will enjoy this and share this. And I pray to the technological gods and Jesus and all that is holy that our podcast will be back up on a regular basis ASAP, and stick with us. So we'll have a podcast released over the weekend. Brian and I will be talking about the Power Four conferences, and then we'll have one for next Thursday for our first pick six of the year for college football, which is back in full force next week. Ladies, gents, boys, and girls, hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you real soon.